Let's bring on board Ranjit Cirumalla. Cirumalla, apologies for that. Agrochemicals analyst at IIFL Capital. Ranjit, good morning. Talk to us about how this space is evolving, especially, I don't want to get into specific names right off the bat, but talk to us about what the prospects look like in terms of the next year or two. There's obviously been some pressure with regard to the entire space as a whole. Are we seeing that unwind being sustainable?
Yeah, good morning. If you look at, yes, you have rightly put it, the sector has been witnessing a bit of a challenging times. It's now been almost 3 years that we have seen there has been a cycle of destocking and then deflation. But what we see now over the last couple of quarters is that clearly the worst of those things are behind the sectors. We have started to see a bit of a volume growth coming back. However, pricing does remain a bit of a challenge at this point of time. Expectations are that with some positive news flows coming through China, if you look at the anti-involution news and then a bit of a rebate cut that we witnessed in the earlier part of this calendar year, those things have kind of starting to result into a bit of a pricing actions, and that is what the industry is hoping will continue. One also have to be cognizant of the fact that currently we are into a Chinese New Year. So hopefully by the mid of the March is what we will be able to see whether these early trends are sustainable. If these trends do sustainable, then clearly the pricing action is expected to come back, and that will be a bit more positive news for the sector.
Ranjit, how do you look at some of the picks within this agrochemical segments, PI or Rallis or a Sharda Corp or insecticides?
We don't cover Sharda Cropchem, but on PI and Rallis, yes, we have been negative on the PI industries, mainly for a specific reason that they do have a bit of a product concentration and that is going off patent. So we do expect a bit of a pressure on the earnings as far as PI industries is concerned. Rallis, we have seen a change in the management a couple of years back, and the new management has brought in a bit of a changes. They are now focusing more on B2C, and that seems to have bearing fruits. So over the next couple of years, we do see Rallis kind of gaining a bit of a traction in the domestic market, and that should help the performance. If you look at Rallis, the earnings have been a bit lackluster. It's been more than almost past several years, and that seems what to be changing now. So we are kind of tracking that, and we remain positive on that.
Ranjit, I want to talk about pricing and margins for the overall industry, because while industry margins remain subdued despite the volume recovery that we've seen across Q3 as well. 2026, could that really change?
If you look at the similar expectation was there in 2025 as well, but then the tariffs happened and then there was a lot of uncertainty around tariffs. And as we get into 2026, though the situation is improving, but still there is not much clear visibility as far as tariffs are concerned. So once we get a clear visibility on the tariffs, I think the pricing action should improve from here on. Since it's been almost 3 years that we have seen a bit of a deflationary trend, hopefully the pricing should improve. The only caveat here is that the intensity of Chinese capacity has been pretty large over the last couple of years, and that would take a bit of a time to kind of get absorbed. The anti-involutions to that extent is positive, and if we see a material cut down in the capacities, hopefully we will see this pricing that we have seen over the last few months should be sustainable.
Who do you think is the best poised to gain market share in North America and Latin American markets?
If you see, most of the companies are trying to it, but if the question is specific to the US tariff point, quite a few companies have been pretty vocal in their exposure to the North American market. So the one thing that comes to my mind is the Aarti Industries. Aarti Industries did see a bit of an impact on the earnings as far as the US tariffs is concerned. And if there is a bit of a reasonable tariff, then Aarti Industries should be the one that should benefit.
And Ranjit, I wonder what you make of some of the import substitution players. Chemplast, for example, has been under pressure for now nearly 2 years in terms of earnings. You see a revival there at all?
If you look at again one of the key segments, if you look at the PVC, we have seen an excessive dumping into Indian markets. And while there has been a recommendation by the DGTR on the ADD funds, we haven't yet seen that getting implemented. So to that extent, there are headwinds that are still prevalent as far as the PVC is concerned. And this is not specific to Chemplast. If you look at globally, the demand has been a bit weak. Part of the demand is linked to the Chinese real estate, and to that extent, we have seen a bit of an excess supply and subdued demand. So most companies which have an exposure to PVC have been reeling under pressure. But as I said, the news flow that did came in the early part of Jan, that cut in the rebate, that is an immediate relief for a player like Chemplast Sanmar. They have reported losses in the third quarter, and hopefully they should start turning into green from the fourth quarter onwards. Ex of that, the company is also taking some initiatives beyond PVC, and hopefully that should also be value accretive to the company.
So, according to you, what could be the turning point for this sector? We've seen a subdued performance for the last couple of years. Is there a turning point around for this sector?
If you look at, there are a few buckets. As far as the outsourcing story is concerned, we have seen that turning around. So the likes of SRF or Navin Fluorine have been seeing a bit of an uptick, while SRF, due to its base, has been a bit subdued. But if you take the case of Navin Fluorine, they have been a big beneficiary of this outsourcing story. So if you look at the outsourcing story, then yes, that continues to do well. Agrochemical segment, if you look at the destocking is behind, volume growth has kind of come back. We are waiting for a pricing uptick there. When you look at the import substitution stories, the Chinese excess capacity will continue to exert pressure on that. And here we are looking forward to a bit of a government support, and then a bit of a cut down in Chinese capacities is what bodes well for the sector. Overall, as far as the turning point is concerned, I think it's still a couple of quarters away or few quarters away. Hopefully by the end of this calendar year, things should look more reasonable for the sector.
Interesting. Okay, Ranjit, great to have you today on the show. Thanks as always for joining in.